Mm-hmm. Lights gone off. I'll do. Hello, good evening, and welcome everybody to episode 25, a Friday special of the British Hive Mind, coming out to you through Facebook, through the Daily Chaos Facebook page, and our YouTube channel, the British Hive Mind. So, as I say, it's a Friday special, and as we do on Fridays, is we discuss topics, issues, people, and things that we can bring up at the pub, or around at friends' houses, or even at events that are happening over the weekend that are going to, start waking people up, start to point them in the right direction, start to lead them and to show them that the world's not quite as it seems. And the more people we wake up, the more people we get there searching, looking, and interested in the truth, the more chance we've got of changing this country for the better, making things better, and making life a darn sight better for us all. Because the lies of government and the establishment have piled up so high that you can't even, you won't see the top of it from the top of Mount Everest. It's that high, it's in space. The pile of lies. So it's just, we need to start poking the holes in these lies and start poking at the lies and the liars themselves to say, well, actually, you're saying this. I have this facts, this evidence here that says that you're completely and utterly wrong and you're lying. And you have this motive to lie. This is why you're lying to the people. Explain yourself, sir. Explain yourself. Yeah. So, it's going to be difficult for us to, to pin down the people at the top of the tree and to pin them down and really start to ask them the serious, vigorous questions they need to be asked. Well, under the, what is it? Where they swear upon the Bible and they tell the whole truth, nothing but the truth. Because we know they're consummate liars. They're paid liars. They love to lie. Lying's one of the biggest parts of their lives, a lot of these people. So we're going to struggle to get hold of them and get them in the right situation to ask them these questions. But we can certainly ask our peers, ask our friends, ask the people in the pub, some simple sorts of questions just to try to gauge their opinions, gauge where they are, gauge their level of trust in the system and the government that's ruling over us. So it's something I'm looking to do over this weekend and get myself out there to the pubs, start talking to people, start asking people not so much tricky, difficult questions that are going to put them on the spot, but open questions. I've got some of them wrote down here. Some of them, I've got my little book. Yeah, some of them wrote down here. So just simple questions. The first question is quite simply, do you trust government? Feel free, answer any way you like. And I'm going to record everything and make sure that everybody remains anonymous. Apart from me, obviously, your presenter. But every guest remains anonymous so they can freely say whatever they're chuffed they like. They don't have any fear of reprisal. Because that's what the left and that's what the establishment have been doing and using against us, is the fear of reprisal. So if people are able to speak anonymously, able to voice their opinions anonymously, it's going to stand them in a lot more comfortable position for them to say what they want, to say how they truly feel. And, in a pub location or in a pub environment, a few beverages, people are a lot more open and a lot more willing to give their true, honest opinions. So the next question would be, do you actually trust any politician? So the people might say, well, they might trust Farage, they might trust Moggy, they might even be silly and trust May herself. But these are the sorts of questions and the sort of opinions that I want to hear from your everyday man in the street that doesn't have time, to be honest with you. It doesn't have time nowadays to go out there and to research in depth all the stuff that we do. you know, they don't have they might have the want to do it, but the will, the effort, and the time constraints to, because it is quite a laborious task sifting through the BS stories or the spun stories or the targeted information to get through to the little core nugget of truth that we need to find. So, yeah. So I think that's going to be a great way to start to get out there in the public, start getting out there, asking normal people, talking, getting the debate, the political debate started, because there's something that's been attacked again and again and again, and degraded and besmirched and blackballed, is the political conversation. It's like, when I was working in the pubs, there was the three things you can't talk about, and that's politics, religion, and finance. You can't talk about these three things because the trip points, the trigger points. If you ask somebody about the political stance, people can get offended. Or if you ask somebody about the religious stance, people can get offended. And oh, yeah, you all know about me and an offence, and it offends me that you get offended. So, yeah. So I really want to start bringing these topics of conversation back to the pub, back into the general conversation street. You know, get these topics, get these things with vibrant debate. Yes, we can get a bit, you know, we can get our backs up and we can, you know, get a bit of in our voices. We can raise our voices. That's fine, as long as fisticuffs aren't or any form of violence or any sort of insult is thrown about. Because if your only argument is to insult the opposition, it's not an argument at all. It's not a debate. It's a poo flinging match, and that's what American politics kind of got down to a few years ago. But now it's back and it's on its way up. So let's have a little read. Yorkshireman not be offended at my wall picks. Well, I'm a Lancashire lad, and to be a Lancashire lad is going to offend Yorkshire people. To be a red rose and a staunch red rose might offend those white roses. But we did form the Tudor rose, and we did reign quite well. But let's back on topic. So, yeah, the Friday show is about waking up others, about talking to other people, start getting them involved in the debate, get them involved in the conversation, because people try to complicate politics to lock people out of it. Just because you don't have the 100% understanding of politics, how it works and everything about it, doesn't mean you can't have an opinion on it. Just because you've not got a politics degree doesn't mean you don't have an expertise in politics. Because guess what? Politics involves us all every single day. Every day. Every penny you spend has politics behind it, has politics involved with it. So we've got to bring it to the forefront. We've got to bring it to the main stage, and we've got to be able to have people having vibrant debates, vibrant conversations about multiple different points that involve politics. The NHS is a great point. Everybody knows, everybody sees that the NHS is failing. The NHS is on its knees, and the NHS is being privatised to a point now where it is pretty much a private, without a sort of formal insurance company policy thing. It's pretty much privatised. Not so many people in the general public are aware of this. You know, you might have a few doctors and nurses that are getting that sort of feeling, that are there on the front lines, getting the sort of feeling that it's all going a bit private. But your average everyday user will just see the standards slipping, the waiting times going through the roof, the cleanliness slipping as well, because these people are being overworked, underpaid, underappreciated, and cripes, the nurses and staff have to pay for their own parking at a hospital to go to work, to have to pay half an hour's wage to park there. Come on, that's just despicable, absolutely despicable. And it's a great broad subject. It's a great broad topic that will affect everyone. Everybody has a family member who's had some form of bad experience with the NHS. Even personal bad experiences with the NHS. People have been to waiting rooms and seen it full of people, and had to wait for hours just to see a doctor in the A&E to stitch your arm up or something, something like this. We are seeing it. We're seeing that our NHS is not for us anymore. It's for everyone. And we're the ones that are paying for it time and time again, more and more and more. And a lot of people know that it's not the frontline staff. It's not the staff that are on the front lines dealing with the patients 12, 13, 15 hours a day sometimes. It's the middleman. It's the management. It's the corporatocracy of the NHS. It's the board of the NHS looking for ways to cut spending and cut budgets so they can keep their own jobs, pretty much. And it is for me, that would be a great topic to talk about to people, because once you can open the door on the NHS and start to show them that maybe common purpose can come off the back of this, because it is the NHS is being run into the ground on purpose with common purpose. This not so charitable charity is wanton destruction of the NHS. And it's a great sort of leader into the sort of the realm of secrets, the realm of people knowing something's wrong, something's gone wrong, something's bad, something stinks, especially with the NHS. And a lot of people have got a sort of broad understanding of, the problems with the NHS, and it's not the staff, it's the management. And then if you can sort of lead them on from there to say, well, the management has been trained upon this course, and the management have been neuro-linguistically programmed to follow this sort of remit, and this sort of middle management have been told they have to do this or they will lose their job, or they can't talk about this or they will lose their job. These sorts of avenues can start to help wake the people up, start to focus their attention onto not just the problem itself, but the cause and the reason behind the problem. Because if you can see the cause and the main issue, the crux of the matter behind the problem, you start to see who is involved, what government agencies are involved, and then you'll start to see the money tree. And once you, as all the reviewers probably know, follow the money. Follow the money. You follow the money, you find out who the culprits really are. And with the NHS, you'll start to see a lot of the corporate entities there creaming from the NHS. You'll start to see a lot of Richard Branson and Virgin coming into place. You'll start to see private initiatives, let's put it that way, privatized initiatives, where you can now FaceTime with your doctor and things like this that are extremely detrimental to the National Health Service. And that's only one point. Yeah, we can go into a lot more depth upon it, but I do believe that it's a good point it's a good pressure point at people, because at one stage, one day, at the end of the day, you're going to end up needing the NHS. Everybody is at one stage in their lifetime. It might be the very final terminal breath that they take is in the NHS, in an NHS care. But you've paid for it all your life, and now you're getting nothing for it. Absolutely nothing for it. And like I said, the NHS is something we're all going to have to use at some point. And to see them destroying it as they are, and yeah, it's a very broad point. It's a very point that's going to affect us all, and we can all see that there's some problems and there's something wrong with the NHS. So I think that's a great topic to sort of talk about, with it being especially the biggest employer in the United Kingdom. What do you think is going to happen if the government or the establishment get their way and it gets completely privatised? Look what happened to Greece and the Greek National Health Service when the EU came in and trounced it. Literally tens of thousands, maybe even hundreds of thousands of people lost their jobs. That is exactly what's going to happen to our NHS, but that's a view of the future. So I see that's a great point to start to bring up to people, to talk to them about it. You know, I'm looking to do a show based around the NHS. Hopefully I might be able to get a few eyes on the event that UK Column are promoting, or maybe even the hosting. That's Dying for Good Health. I want to get some eyes inside of there to get hopefully some video footage of real life people doing real life things inside the NHS and really airing its dirty laundry, because it's about time. It is about time that came into place. No, have we got any guests? No, still no guests. We need to open up the server a bit more. Like we said on the Daily Chaos a bit earlier, we do need to open this up more and get more people involved. And maybe a Friday show is a great time to get more people involved, because we can't just have my opinions on the show. It's the hive mind. It's for other people to get involved with as well. So we're working on it, people. We're working on it. And we're going to start expanding the programming. That's my vision of the future, and that's what I'm going to look to do. So anyways, back to waking people up, getting people awake, getting people to understand that all of this has been done by design. So I'll get my little cheat sheet. So you've also got it's something that you can nicely suggest to people, is to question where they get their information from. Because if you're talking to people and they're still trusting of the BBC, ITV, Channel 4 News, things like this, they're going to... It's going to be a lot harder to wake them up if they're still believing and trusting in the mainstream media, because they'll see that narrative and they'll believe that is the truth and the fact of the matter. Whereas we can see from our standpoint that they are government-controlled narrative. They are establishment-controlled. They are part of the problem. So hopefully you can start to point them into, alternative media sources. The biggest of all I'd say would be Breitbart. Breitbart, it's not perfect, but it's darn sight better than The Guardian or the BBC or any of these, mainstream media companies. Breitbart, God rest his soul, did a good job. He's set up a good standard of reporting of investigative journalism. So you've got Breitbart, you've got Drudge, the Drudge Report. You know, he's more America based, and it's a lot more of the American side of politics. But yes, it does affect us indirectly. So we do have to have eyes and ears on the ground there as well. You know, even the new little Westmonster sort of. You see, I don't know where to go with Westmonster. I personally, I don't trust them. I don't trust them. You know, they came out of the blue, out of nowhere, from what I see. This is my opinion here. They came out of the blue, out of nowhere, with a studio, with microphones, with a full camera set, with far too much financial backing. Which you know, a bit of a red flag for me, that one. A bit of a red flag. They seem to be very London centric. There's very, you know, they do tackle some points, some good points, but they also ignore a lot of points as well, you know. And yeah, they do have a good, hard, strong stance on Brexit, but I don't know, something just doesn't sit right with me for them. But we'll all see in good time. We'll see in good time. So yeah, and I watched the UK column today. I know. I watch the UK column quite a lot. I do see it as a very good source of information. But the way they're painting Palestine in the UK column today, and I was just staggered at the pro-Palestinian stance they had. And I was like, really? Really? When Palestine is paying people to be terrorists? When Palestinians are exalted for their martyrdom? Really? You really want to be pro-Palestine? Yeah, the Zionist Jews aren't exactly, and the Rothschilds aren't exactly in good. But oh yeah, it's like, oh, they're both really, really bad. So you can't support either of them. So what? One's calling for the destruction of the other, openly, blatantly saying, we want to kill them all. We will not sleep or rest until they're all dead. And the other one's secretly saying, well, they want us all dead, so we kind of want all them dead as well. But we'll be quiet about it. We'll do it in a different sort of way. We'll do it in a more intelligent sort of way, more Mossad sort of way, more government. Yeah. So it's a mad state. It's a mad state of affairs in the Middle East. And that's definitely not a topic to talk about with people to try to wake them up, because that, you know, you've got the Americans have to back the Saudis because of the oil money, and then you've got to have the Americans have got to back the Israelis because of the Zionist influence. So you got Muslims versus Jews with the Christians stuck in the middle fighting the battle. Yeah. Oh, but it's one of those. A topic for another time. A topic not for a Friday. A topic not for the pub to be talked about. And a topic really to be discussed amongst friends and people that are awake, especially the Middle East. Yeah. But with all the crap that's happening in Syria at the moment, it's a topic that's there at the tip of people's tongues. It's a topic that is there in the forefront of the media. It's there in the forefront of everybody's eyes. And if you can start to wake people up for the reasoning behind Syria, and it's not just the frigging oil. It's not just oil. There's a lot of biblical crap inside of this whole stuff as well. And there's a lot of globalist crap involved with it as well. You know, let's destabilize the Middle East and ship them all into Europe. Because we see that's definitely happening. And let's tie the Africans into this as well. So instead of just the Muslims coming over from the Middle East, we'll chuck a bunch of Africans in it as well, so we can hide behind the disguise of racism. Yeah. So clergy, brilliant plan. Sarcasm. So we've got to start opening people's eyes to alternative media. Facebook news, Facebook views. Instagram's quite a good place for a bit of meme wars. And generally, it's a difficult one to point them directly at WikiLeaks, but it is one heck of a source of information. You know, WikiLeaks, it is the golden goose that lays the golden eggs. It really is. It gives a lot of information, a lot of rabbit holes, and all of it, everything I've ever read on WikiLeaks has been true, has been sourced correctly. So it's a great place to find your information. Maybe it's not for a newbie. Maybe it's not for people that are starting out down the rabbit hole, but it is definitely a great place to point people that are part way down the rabbit hole looking into things. Get them looking at WikiLeaks, because a lot of it's, I wish there was more WikiLeaks about the UK. I really do. I really wish that they'd stick it to the British government, especially with the Luciferian side of things. But it's a good source of information and extremely trustworthy. You know, it's then you've got its little baby brother, which is Little Live Leaks. That's a good source of information too. And I'm not backing the tabloid newspapers on this. I'm not saying take their word as the truth, but sometimes they do have a decent headline or two. The stories will be pretty much garbage, spun in a way to try to manipulate your thought. But some of the headlines, some of the news stories are. It's a good way to. It's a good street sign. Yeah, it's a good street sign. It's a good way of direction, because you'll see it in the news, in the normal mainstream media. You'll see it and you'll go, okay, that story. Let's have a read. Not let's have a read of another newspaper, but let's have a read of something from an alternative media source. Right. So you're getting pointed in the right direction by the mainstream media. You can get pointed in the completely wrong direction by the mainstream media, but they can start to point you in the right direction in some ways. But do look into it yourself. Don't take what they say as truth. Say, well, it could have an element of truth to it. I'm going to have a look at this a little bit more. Or you'll see a story that'll catch your eye, that'll interest you, and you'll think, right, yes, this is one I need to look into. This is one that I'm not going to read your narrative on. I'm going to look into it. I'm going to research it. I'm going to have a look into it myself. And I'm going to ask other people's opinions on it as well. Because, yes, they might have read the newspaper and that might have formed their opinion for them. But you've read that same newspaper. You might have even read the article itself. But having to do a bit of secondary research will be able to tie you in. And you'll be able to discuss the problems and discuss the article with the other person with a more broader understanding of the entire article. Sort of, yeah. Taking signposts from the mainstream media, because they do have to report upon stories. They have to. It's part of the remit. You know, yes, we know that they're controlled by Associated Press and Reuters, and they get their news stories at 4:00 in the morning or something like that have been sanctioned they've been sanctioned, they've been censored, they've been denoted, they've been, told what they can write about, what they can't write about, and how they've got to spin it, in which direction it's got to spin. So, yeah, mainstream media with a pinch of salt. So, I'd love to try to point people towards Q, but Q is another level. It is another level. It is more American associated. It is more across the pond, but it is a good source of information if you're willing to look into it and research it yourself. If you're willing to answer the questions that Q posts, you'll find out a lot. You'll get a lot of information, a lot of knowledge. But this is for, I'd say Q's for the red people, but the red-pilled people. Q is there to give us substance to our arguments. He's there to give us the tools we need to trounce any debate, to say, boom, 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 this is fact, this is information, this is where I've got it from, boom, boom, boom. That's what Q's all about. Q's not for red-pilling people. It's to back up your arguments when you're red-pilling others. And to show people there's a true side out there. Now, so, yeah, there's some, quite good stories. But the one story and the one thing that you can never beat in an argument is your own personal experience. In a debate, your own personal experience should trump most arguments. If you, like me, have been attacked for being white, there's not many arguments that can come up and beat that argument, really. I have been physically attacked for being white. Is that not racism? Was that not a hate crime? La 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 la. There we go. And there's another great source of information, and that's other people. A lot of other people have done a lot of other research and have done a lot of time and effort into investigating things, into looking into things, and getting the facts out there, getting the facts, getting them in place, getting them inside their head, so they can orate them, they can talk about them. Yeah. So there's a lot of good people out there that you want to be tuning into and listening to. I'm a constitutionalist. I love it. I love the Constitution. I do believe it needs a bit of a PR campaign. People need to learn about it, need to read it, need to understand it, and need to know what it does for us. And I'm on the fence of maybe thinking that it could possibly do with being not rewrote, not wrote again, but yeah, maybe wrote again, put into, freaking etched into freaking stone. This is our Constitution. These are our rights. It's just for the freaking simple education of it, really, because to educate people on the Magna Carta and the Bill of Rights and the Queen's Oath and things like this in, the Old English sort of terminology that it uses and things like this, it daunts a lot of people. There's a lot of simple people out there that need simple things putting in simply. So it's, I love it. I love the Constitution. I think it's great the way it is, but it's being able to wake people up to it being the solution. Is to wake people up to it being the highest law in the land. Is to wake the people up to that's quite difficult. So I wouldn't want to say rewriting it. It's a bit of a, I don't want to cop out on it. It's part of our history. It's part of our tradition. It's part of England. But it's hard for people to understand it because they've not been educated on it. Yes, if we put it properly into our education system, maybe in a couple of generations' time, it will be back and everyone will understand it. But it's 2 generations away. Have we got enough time? I don't think we do. So, yeah. It's a tricky one. It's a tricky one, so I'm going to have to stay on the fence on that one. But it's something that, people with more understanding of the Constitution, people with more understanding of things, we could really have a good debate about it. Because I'm not a constitutional expert. I don't know what it says exactly. I do know what it means. I do know certain sections of it. I do know that it's our Constitution. I do know quite a lot of the facts about it, what rights it gives us, and how it can be used to bring down the establishment. And even myself, I can have a nice conversation with a constitutional expert and learn a lot more. And you yourselves and other people can have a conversation with a constitutional expert, and it'll help wake you up. And then that will in turn help you wake other people up, and it will in turn network. The hive mind grows. The hive mind is where people come together, talk about their opinions, discuss facts, discuss debate, and discuss changes, things we can do to make sure this country gets better. And the Constitution is a key factor in all of this. It's a foundation cornerstone of our civilization. So listen to the constitutional awareness groups, listen to the constitutional experts, listen to them. They know a lot. They've got a lot of information and a lot of solutions to the problems, not just highlighting the problems and saying this is bad, that's bad, the other's bad. We have to concentrate and focus more upon the solutions to the problems and how we can make the place better. So, that was supposed to be a segue into the right sort of people to tune into, the right sort of people to listen to, the right sort of fact-based opinions, the right sort of conversations to have, and the right sort of people to point other people towards. I've tried to point people towards Brian Gerrish, especially when it comes to common purpose, especially when it comes to the social services and kidnap and that sort of dark rabbit hole. He's a great source of information on common purpose, one of the best I've ever heard. And hopefully that'll point them a bit more towards UK column, because it is a good news source. Disagree with them with their stance upon Palestine, but that's fine. That's a great thing to do. You're allowed to disagree with people and disagree with things. It's great. And people, I know he's got a bit of a bad stigmatism around him, especially around the unawake, uneducated, or ill-informed. I won't say uneducated, I'll say ill-informed people of the world. And that's Tommy Robinson. I've had my doubts about him. I still do have my doubts about him. But at the end of the day, he's done his research. He's most definitely thoroughly read the Quran. He's just rewrote it himself and put his own notes into place there and context into it. Read his books are blooming good. And he's definitely done his research. He definitely knows more about Islam than most chuffing Muslims. And he's a great source of information, a great source of knowledge upon the dark side of Islam. Great one to follow, great one to watch, great political activist. He's had his ups and downs. He's had a bit of a punch from left field, if you get the pun. But we need to, get behind him. We do. He's one at speaking source, knowledge and reason, common sense. On the back of Tommy Robinson, Anne-Marie Waters. She's got some cojones. She's got some stones. She's willing to stand up, and she's willing to receive the abject hatred of the left, the abject hatred of Muslims and Islam, and she's willing to take that on the chin. She's willing to stand up there and say things that you and I want to say, but we don't have the platform to say it. So I definitely say have a listen to her. Have a listen to what she says. She's got some. She's not just a one-trick pony. She's not just anti-Islam. She's got very strong opinions on the NHS. She's got very strong opinions on the European Union. She wants it destroyed, like all of us do. Yeah, There's all out there, I know, like, there's, he's one to take with a pinch of salt. He is. He's a bit eccentric, a bit, a bit far down the rabbit hole. Maybe he's gone down the rabbit hole and got his own little shovel and started digging his own little rabbit holes down there whilst he's down there. But who knows? But he's definitely, certainly started to shine a light on the New World Order, on the globalists, on these people that are Luciferian, on these people that are in power, Luciferian, and sacrificing children to harvest their adrenochrome and drink it, for crying out loud. Yeah, he was one of the pioneers sort of exposing that. But do take him with a pinch of salt. And I'm not saying there aren't reptilians. I'm not saying there are reptilians. What I'm saying is it is plausible. If you look into it and you look into science and evolution and things like that, you can say, I can't doubt it. I can doubt it, but I can't fully deny it. So, yeah. Then you've got our American friends. Alex Jones. He's a bit of a wild card, bit of a crazy one, but he's come out with future truths. He's one that knows the plan, and if you know the plan, you can kind of predict the future. Same with David Icke. He knows the plan, so he can kind of predict the future. If you know what somebody wants, and you know what the means and willingness of what they're going to do to get it, you can kind of put a timeline in order. So they're going to do, right, so they want this, okay? So they're going to do this, and this to get this in the next year. So you predicted the future because you know their aims, you know their goals. Yeah, and Joe Rogan, he does a good show. He's got some good information, good guests, and yeah, well, a thorough show. He's got some sort of lefty views and things like that, but hey, everybody's their own person, and yeah, there's quite a lot of people out there, a lot of truth tellers, even amongst the British side of the groups, Sean Morris, Gary Clark, these people, good opinions, good facts, good on feet on the street experience comes from those two, especially. David Witchy Woo, he's a good source of information. The entire lie from birth is something that Witchy Woo's good with, and they're the ones on our side, the strength from our side of the water, and we need to rally behind them to really start to promote their videos and really promote the goodness that they're doing. I see a lot with the birth certificates and the raising of the dead is a lot of I wish. It's a wish that everybody would do it, because if everybody did it, then we'd change the face of British politics. But it'd be a lot easier if we could change the face of British politics and then take everybody out from the birth certificate in one fell swoop like that. But needs must. You know, we've got to get the power. First, we've got to take back control. And one of the good ways to take back control is to take away their right to rule. If they've got no right to rule us, because they don't chuffing rule us, yeah, if they've got no right to form the government, then they've got to get rid of it. So, yeah, there's other people out there. There's people that we've got to get in touch with. Got people that you've got to start listening to and start recommending to other people. You know, maybe Alexander Sangmore is a bit far for some people. Maybe he's just right for others. Maybe one of your friends is, you know, quite clued up, knows about the New World Order, knows about Rothschilds, and yeah, Sangmore can hit them with a lot of information. You know, and it's all about spreading the word. It's all about getting the word out there. Christ. Yeah. How was the gospel spread? Through word of mouth. Through the church or the church sending its best debaters, its best speakers to these parts of the world to speak and to talk and to preach the word of the gospel. We need to do the same, sort of people. We need to get our best speakers. We need to get our best orators. We need to get our best debaters out there in amongst the people preaching the word of the truth. I know the pile of lies is so high we can't see the top of it, but we can bring that pile of lies down with a few simple truths. With a few simple truths and people willing to do their own research and look into it themselves, and we will start to win. This is the information war, and we're winning it. Because I ain't losing. I ain't freaking losing it. So, yeah, a quick show on a Friday. Quick show. Well, we'll wrap it up after an hour or so. But it's you know, as I say, on a Friday, we want topics, we want things to talk about, we want ways to, you know, means and methods and topics to talk about when we go to the pub, when we start to talk amongst our friends, talk amongst random people, start to talk to people out and about, face to face, in the street. And if we can talk to them face to face, it's the best way to red pill them. It's the best way. And if we can, you know, even just refer them on to looking at another YouTube video, or probably not send them my way, but yeah, just get them, you know, just get them viewing things, get them looking at real things on YouTube, DTube, BitChute, things like this. Get them looking at the real life, real world, real sorts of issues, and maybe it might stir them to come along to a rally. And once they come along to a rally, then more doors open to them, and more action is done. And, well, the German Revolution was propagated in the pub. The French Revolution propagated in the pub. The British Revolution will be propagated in the pub. Why do you think they're trying to shut our pubs down? Because the pub is our community centre. The pub is our place to gather. The pub is one of our strongest bastions of free speech, of Britishness, of our culture, of our society, of our way of life. It is a bastion of Britishness. And it's where we need to get the feet on the street and the people talking. So, everybody, I'm encouraging you all. Everybody, go to the pub, have a pint, or have a white wine if you're a lady. Have a pint, have a chat. Even if you wake 1 or 2 people up, that's 2 people more awake than they were before. And those 2 people might talk to another person, and then the news will spread, and the movement will grow, and we can win. We can win. But all it takes is that little bit of effort from everyone. You know, if everybody in the movement put in a quid, the movement might have £100,000 by next week. If everybody in the movement went out and started talking to some more people, we could have 1 million followers in a month or so. If more people put a little bit more effort in. I'm not talking about devoting your entire life to waking people up or making your own little YouTube TV show like this. All I'm asking is for a couple of questions to a few random people or acquaintances or friends, just to help point them in the right direction. Because if we can point the people in the right direction and give them the sources and the information that they need to tool themselves, to get themselves informed, then things will happen, and things will happen very, very quickly. The snowballing effect of it will blast the movements into the stratosphere. We will get more feet on the streets. We will get more and more demands in place. We will get more and more powerful. And the more power we can wield and show our strength, the more they have to listen. We strictly advocate non-violence, although we can see the time is coming. So it's all about, I think I've said this before, it's not about converting them to our side. It's not about, it is a good part to it, but it's not about forcing your views upon other people. It's not about going around telling people that they're wrong and their views are stupid. It's not about that. It's at its most basic level. It's about, how can I put this? How can I word this? It's about stopping their opposition to us. Now, let me just clarify on that. It's about stopping them going, racist, xenophobe, Nazi, like this, when we're trying to be patriotic, and change this country for the better. If we can stop them from freaking doing that, we're making progress. You know, if we can stop the people from opposing us when we go out to our marches and our rallies, and actually start to take away the cognitive dissonance, and start to take away this brick wall that they've got in front of them that the media narrative has put there. You know, if we can start to take bricks out of that wall and let them see the brighter future, they're not, yeah. It's not about changing them to our side. It's about stopping them from being on their side and maybe making them into the neutral, into the middle, which is a step in the right direction at least. So, yeah. Like I say, it's not about aggressively confronting people and bad-mouthing their views and opinions. It's about offering them the reasonable alternative and showing them that the reasonable alternative is better than theirs. If you can show it to them and prove it to them that our way is better, then you've won the argument. You've won the debate. You don't need to get into fisticuffs. You don't need to shout at people. You don't need to insult people. You just need to show them the better way. And on that note, I'll say goodbye for the evening. Yep, goodbye for the weekend. Be good. Doing a few more things myself over the weekend. Out to the pub. Out to ask a few questions to random people. I'll see if I can get that uploaded. I'll get it uploaded onto the YouTube. Not so sure about the Facebook, but I'll clear it with Ollie. Give him the data on it. Let him have a listen to it. See what I can do. See if he approves of it. Because after all, the Daily Chaos is his page. Yeah, it's got a lot more followers than the Hive Mind. So good on him. Right. So yeah, happy weekend, everybody. More to come. More of an open platform. More information to come. More fun. Happy weekend. Thank you, one and all. Like, subscribe, and all that jazz. And speak to you soon. All the best.